Hey everybody, I'm back. I am trying to keep to the Monday schedule. So yeah, welcome to Creating Change. Um, some words from my experience. I just want to say thank you. I think I've got 4 new subscribers, so very, very eternally grateful to that. Yeah, it means a lot to me, and I know family and friends are pushing for subscribers, so I appreciate. And I hope, yeah, we continue to grow. So, sure. Last week it was I'm sitting and I'm trying to get my thoughts and like what I was going to be talking about this week. I made a whole bunch of notes like trauma and this and that, and obviously that's some stuff that I'm going to be getting to. Um, but something hit me yesterday morning, um, and it was a post I saw, of me and other stuff, and it wasn't a bad post, and it wasn't like I was in the post, but it was just a feeling that I got. And I think the biggest thing is, and one of my points last week was trauma. And I think it just works so well into this one. And it was the feeling that I didn't know what I meant to other people. And I start, it's when I go to sleep, this is when my brain really starts working. Thinking about my blog posts and the work I'm doing and things like that. Okay, so I woke up yesterday morning, I was feeling a bit iff. Had been feeling a bit iff on Saturday. Um, and I was trying to pin down why. Um, and anyone that struggles with this, you always try and struggles with trauma or depression or something like that. There's always a point, that one little thing that is what causes the depression. And most times we don't know what it is. And I'm grateful. I've got, uh, you know, medical assistance, in terms of psychologists and psychiatrists. And the one thing I'm learning is that you have to find what is the cause of that feeling so that you can work through it so that your dip isn't as long. So I'm going to talk about why I had the dip, and try and keep to obviously the maximum 10, 12 minutes. So, anyway, so the whole thought came in of, do I mean as much to people as what they mean to me? And, it's a feeling of I'm not good enough. People don't love me. And it becomes this avalanche, and you're going, oh my gosh, I'm worthless. I'm not good enough to be loved because no one loves me. And it's not about everyone else and the emotions they show to you. And I think that's something I'm going to reiterate quite a lot. It's the acceptance from myself of people. It's the belief that I am worth loving. Um, and it's just not nitpicking on things that I have no control over. I have no control of other people and what their thoughts and feelings are. I always say you only have control of your thoughts, feelings, actions, and your words. Um, and this is something I try and reiterate and continuously reiterate to myself. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes, I'm like, yes, I got that. Sometimes it's just this overwhelming non-understanding of it. And you get sucked into this feeling that the easiest way is that everybody hates me, nobody loves me, I'm going to sit in the corner and eat worms. Very gross, but that's sort of where it goes. And it's not saying that anyone that suffers from depression is just wallowing in self-pity. It's just you get this feeling that you're not good enough, and it sits and it drags you down, and you literally want to sit in a corner and cry. And I say this because I've gone to bathrooms at work, and I've sat crying because I just felt so inadequate, so just like I felt nothing. I felt like I was nothing. So, in case, back to the story. So, I'm sitting in the car. My husband and I are going for a nice beach walk. And I say to him, I'm like, do you ever feel like you don't know where you stand with people? Like you don't know if people love you? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone loves you. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But I don't feel like it. Like, I don't know if the people I loved in my past, be it boyfriends or family members or anyone, whether they truly love me the way I love them. And I'm not saying that I'm loving them more. I'm saying my understanding of how they feel towards me. I have no concept of that. I can't wrap my brain around that people actually love me. And, we were bantering back and forth. And he goes, it's it's the way your brain is wired. It's how you thinking of it. He goes, everyone in your like your social group or family and everyone can tell you how much they love you. But until you accept that they love you and you feel that you're worthy, only then will you start accepting and finally realizing that you're not just this person sitting in the corner, you know, all by yourself and no one cares about you. So then, in between everything, I'm sitting and I'm going, okay, where does this really stem from? And there's no blame laid here. I'm trying to come to terms with whatever happened in my past. I had no control over it. It happened. I have to somehow grieve it and let it go because all it has done for, well, majority of my life is caused me pain because I had no control over it. I've become a control freak. So I have to control everything around me. Okay, but in case, now I'm going off on another tangent. So it comes down to my mother was a very complicated person. She loved as much as she could, and I was always trying to prove that she had to love me. And maybe it was because she couldn't vocalize her feelings towards me. Maybe it was I don't know. Maybe the type of words of affirmation of love that I needed, she didn't know how to reciprocate or share with me. And because of this, I forced myself to do fantastically at school because if I did well, she would then see me for being worthy of love. And believe me, my mother is not an angel, or was not an angel. Um, she had her faults, and you know she's passed. So I'm not going to talk ill. She's not here to answer the questions. Not that she really wanted to when she was here, but I started realizing that I couldn't blame her for my. Like, it's a tough one. When you're raised in a traumatic situation, in the sense of emotional abuse, mental abuse, and I'm not quite saying that it was there, but it's not that it wasn't there. In any case, I felt like I had to prove myself so that she would see me. I think that's the right way to say it. I wasn't seen as a child. I was very demanding. I wanted love. And, you know, you look at most children, they're not as demanding. I mean, I would force my way to sit on her lap and hug her and get that warm feeling that I needed. Sometimes, when thunder struck, when there was thunder and lightning, I would go to my mom and she'd hold me tight, in bed and I'd sleep there. But then other times it was we were worlds apart and I didn't understand it. And I grew up with this always needing to prove myself for love or do whatever I had to do so that I could feel loved. And it led to alcohol and, not that I'm an alcoholic, but a lot of alcohol. Yeah, it was just crazy. But in case, so yes, my childhood trauma of perhaps emotional abuse and mental abuse, it stems from when I was a kid and I was never taught how to love myself. I always wanted everyone else, and I felt that I was only good enough when people loved me and when people showed that I was important. And I never formed that self-confidence where I knew I was enough. And that's probably why the feeling that hit me on Saturday and Sunday was I still don't know that I'm good enough. And I think that's the biggest thing we all struggle with. Whether you've got depression or borderline or whether or not you have a mental illness. And I do think everyone has a form of depression in this world. How can we, really not? But so I I get why I felt that way. Um, but I also realized that this year and this journey I've decided to take and this channel, um, this is about how I can self reflect, look at what it is, and then reach a space where I'm starting to feel more self confident and more self love. And it's not going to be done in a day or a conversation with a logical thinker. It's work that I have to do every day and, you know, give myself credit for the small things I do. And although I said in my first video that, I can handle the negative comments and, I'm not going to be valuing myself on the number of subscribers and those type of things. It is still so awesome that, 12 people and 58 views, you know, maybe my experience isn't that bad. Maybe I can help just one person out there. So if you are feeling like you don't know if you are loved by anyone, take a step back and go, do I love myself? Because it's not about ego, but the most important love that we can have is not only for um, on our spiritual religious side, but it's also the fact that I love myself. Because if I do not love myself, I cannot love anything or anyone, higher power all the way through to, fur babies. So remember, when you think no one loves you, you probably have an army that will take out anyone to protect you because you are loved. And that's something I have to learn. So let's work on this together. Um, this was longer than my normal video, and I'm sorry if I babbled, let me know. But yeah, thanks for joining me again, and like and subscribe if you like this. Chat to me in the comments. I'm always available. Um, yeah, so maybe thought for this week. Let's do one thing that we can say, I love myself, or I'm actually good at this, and I, I acknowledge that I'm good enough. So let's just start with that this week. So happy week. Um, yeah, see you next week Monday. Have a good one. Cheers.